Why your childhood felt so different from everyone else's. Why you felt like you didn't fit in even when you tried. Could it be that those struggles and moments of loneliness were actually signs of something greater, something that marked you as special, as chosen? Think back to your younger self. Did you ever feel like you were carrying a weight no one else could see? Were you drawn to dreams and ideas that others didn't understand? Or maybe you noticed things others missed, people's feelings, hidden truths, or the beauty of the world around you. What if these weren't just random traits but clues to your destiny? You might have been misunderstood, laughed at, or even ignored. But deep inside, you've always known you were different. That feeling wasn't a coincidence. Every chosen one goes through challenges in childhood, and those very experiences are what prepare them to rise above and fulfill their unique purpose. In today's video, we'll explore signs from your childhood that prove you were destined for something extraordinary. Stay with us, because these signs might just explain everything you've ever felt about yourself. And hey, if any of this resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Comment below and let us know which signs you recognize from your own life. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future content. Together, let's uncover what it truly means to be chosen. From the time you were a child, you might have felt like you didn't fit in with the people around you. Maybe your family didn't understand the way you thought or felt. At school, while others seemed to connect so easily, you often felt like you were standing on the outside, looking in. Even with friends, there might have been moments where you wondered, why do I feel so different? This feeling of being out of place wasn't because there was something wrong with you. In fact, it was a sign of something extraordinary. People who are chosen for a greater purpose often feel this way. It's as if the world around them can't quite match the energy or dreams they carry inside. As a chosen one, you may have noticed things others didn't. While your classmates were focused on fitting in, you were often lost in thoughts about the deeper meaning of life. You had dreams and ideas that felt bigger than your small world. This made you different, and sometimes being different felt lonely. But here's the truth. Being different was never a weakness. It was a sign of your unique journey. You weren't meant to fit into every group because you were being prepared for something that most people couldn't understand. Think about it. If everyone fits perfectly into the same mold, who will be the ones to break it and create something new? That's what chosen ones do. They are born to stand out, to challenge what's normal, and to lead others toward something greater. So, if you've ever felt like you didn't belong, take it as a sign of your strength. It's proof that you were made for something extraordinary. And as you keep walking your path, you'll find that the very things that made you feel out of place will become your greatest power. In many families and communities, there's often one person who feels like they just don't fit the mold. Maybe that person was you. Perhaps you were labeled the black sheep, the one who thought or acted differently, who didn't follow the usual path, or who questioned things others simply accepted. People might have called you rebellious, strange, or even difficult, but that wasn't the whole story. Being the black sheep wasn't a bad thing. It was actually a sign that you were meant to take a different road. While others around you were content to follow the rules or stick to tradition, you saw things differently. You may have wanted to explore new ideas, question old beliefs, or chase dreams others didn't understand. This set you apart, and sometimes that isolation felt painful. At family gatherings, you might have felt like your voice wasn't heard, or your ideas didn't matter. In your community, you may have noticed that people expected you to be like everyone else, but deep down, you knew you weren't, and that's because you weren't supposed to be. Being the black sheep is often a clue that you're meant to carve out your own unique path. It's not about rejecting your roots or being difficult. It's about discovering the purpose that's been placed inside you. Chosen ones are rarely understood in the beginning because their journey is so different from everyone else's. Think of it like this. While most people walk the same familiar trail, the black sheep is the one who ventures into the unknown, clearing the way for others to follow later. Your courage to stand out and embrace your uniqueness is what makes you special. So, if you've ever been called the odd one or felt like you didn't belong, remember, this wasn't a curse. It was a sign of your calling, your strength, and your ability to lead in ways others couldn't imagine. The world needs people like you to bring fresh ideas, challenge old ways, and create something new. As a child, you might have noticed that your interests were different from those of your peers. While most kids were busy with the latest trends or common hobbies, you were drawn to things that felt unique or even unusual. Maybe it was a fascination with art that told a story, an unshakable curiosity about the mysteries of the universe, or a deep connection to nature that others didn't seem to understand. You might have spent hours drawing, writing, or creating while others played games. Perhaps you loved exploring the outdoors, feeling a sense of peace and wonder that words couldn't capture. Or maybe you found yourself curious about spiritual topics, wondering about things beyond what could be seen or explained. These weren't random hobbies, they were clues to your true purpose. Having unusual talents or interests often made you stand out. People may have teased you for being different, or questioned why you cared so much about things they thought were strange. But those interests were the seeds of your destiny, planted deep within you to guide your journey. The world is full of people who follow the crowd, but chosen ones often go against the flow. Your unique talents and passions were preparing you for something greater. While others were content with the ordinary, you were discovering the extraordinary. Imagine this. The things that made you feel different as a child are the very things that will set you apart as an adult. Those early fascinations were shaping your creativity, your insight, and your ability to see the world in ways others cannot. So, if you ever felt like your interests were weird or out of place, remember this. They were never a mistake. They were signs of your uniqueness and the incredible purpose waiting for you. Embrace those unusual talents and let them guide you. They are the key to unlocking who you were always meant to be. Childhood can be a challenging time, but for some it feels like the weight of the world is placed on their shoulders early in life. If you experienced hardships like bullying, the loss of a loved one, or struggles within your family, it might have felt unfair, like you were singled out for suffering. But these challenges weren't random, they had a purpose. From a young age, you were being prepared for something greater. Life was shaping you, teaching you resilience and strength that others might not develop until much later. The trials you faced, though painful, were like a forge, crafting you into someone capable of overcoming even the toughest obstacles. Bullying, for instance, might have taught you how to stand strong in the face of criticism, or how to empathize with others who feel alone. Losing someone you loved could have shown you the value of every moment and the importance of deep connections. Family struggles may have pushed you to mature faster, take on responsibilities, or find peace within yourself despite the chaos around you. These challenges weren't easy, and it's okay to acknowledge the pain they brought, but they were also signs that you were chosen for a unique purpose. Chosen ones often endure more because they're meant to lead, inspire, or create something meaningful in the world. Think of it like climbing a steep mountain. The climb is tough, but it makes you stronger and gives you a view that no one else can see. Your hardships were part of that climb. So, if your childhood was marked by struggles, don't see it as a curse. Instead, recognize it as preparation. Those unexplained challenges gave you the tools to rise above, to understand others deeply, and to face life with a strength that few possess. You are stronger because of what you endured, and that strength is your power. From a young age, you may have felt something inside you, a quiet but powerful inner voice that spoke of a greater purpose. It wasn't loud or demanding, but it was persistent, like a soft whisper you couldn't ignore. Even when life got chaotic or people doubted you, that voice remained, reminding you that you were meant for something bigger. As a child, this feeling might not have made much sense. You couldn't explain why you felt different, or why you dreamed of things others didn't even think about. Perhaps you were drawn to big ideas, imagining yourself doing something extraordinary, even when your circumstances seemed ordinary. You didn't just want to live, you wanted to make a difference, to create, to explore, or to help others in ways that were unique to you. That strong inner voice was a sign of your purpose. While other kids might have been content with what they had, you felt a pull towards something more, something meaningful. It's as if you knew deep down that you weren't just here to go through the motions of life. You were here to bring something new into the world, to follow a path that was uniquely yours. But having that inner voice wasn't always easy. Sometimes it made you feel out of place, like you couldn't relate to others who didn't hear the same call. People might have misunderstood you, telling you to just focus on the present or to stop dreaming so much. Yet no matter what anyone said, that voice didn't leave. It stayed with you, offering hope, direction, and a sense of destiny. Over the years, that whisper may have grown louder, especially in moments of challenge or doubt. When things got tough, your inner voice reminded you to keep going, to trust in yourself, and to believe that your struggles had a purpose. Even as you grew older and the world tried to distract you, that voice became your anchor, pulling you back to what truly mattered. This strong inner voice is one of the clearest signs of being chosen. It's a gift, a guiding force that not everyone has. It means you're connected to something greater, a vision, a purpose, or a mission that's uniquely yours. Listening to this voice, even when it's hard, is what sets chosen ones apart from the rest. So, if you've ever felt that unshakable sense of purpose, trust it. That inner voice isn't just a feeling, it's a compass, guiding you toward the path you were always meant to take. It's proof that even as a child, you were destined for something extraordinary. And as long as you keep listening to it, you'll find the strength, courage, and clarity to fulfill your unique calling. That whisper of purpose isn't just a part of you, it's the heart of who you are. As a child, you might have found that your imagination was one of your greatest strengths. While other kids were daydreaming about simple things, you often found yourself lost in grand visions of a better world. You imagined heroic deeds, incredible adventures, or achievements that went far beyond what seemed possible for someone your age. These daydreams weren't just playful fantasies, they were glimpses of your true potential, a window into what you were destined to become. While others around you were thinking about the here and now, you were thinking about what could be. Perhaps you dreamed of helping people, solving big problems, or making the world a more peaceful place. You might have imagined yourself as a leader, someone who could inspire others and make a lasting impact. These weren't just childhood fantasies, they were clues about the kind of person you were becoming. Children's imaginations often run wild, but for chosen ones, these dreams hold deeper meaning. They're not just flights of fancy, they reflect the incredible potential waiting to be unlocked. The things you imagined as a child are often connected to the gifts, talents, and purpose that you're meant to discover and use in the future. Maybe your dreams were filled with visions of being a hero, standing up for what's right, or helping those who are suffering. Perhaps you saw yourself doing something that seemed impossible to others, climbing mountains, achieving greatness, or creating something that would change the world. These dreams might have seemed too big or too unrealistic at the time, but they were telling you something important. You have the ability to make those dreams a reality. When others were focused on simple, everyday goals, your imagination soared above and beyond. You were drawn to the idea of something greater, something bigger than yourself. And though people around you might have told you to be realistic or grounded, your dreams couldn't be confined. They were the spark of your potential, urging you to look beyond your current circumstances and see the limitless possibilities before you. As you grow older, those dreams may have shifted, but they still carry the same power. They remind you of your purpose, of the strength you carry inside, and of the world you are capable of creating. The dreams you had as a child weren't just random thoughts. They were glimpses of the greatness that lies within you. They are reminders that you are meant to achieve something extraordinary. So if you ever doubted your dreams or thought they were too far-fetched, remember, they were never just fantasies. They were seeds of your potential, planted early to guide you toward the incredible things you are meant to accomplish. Your friends were content with playing games or staying indoors. You found solace and peace in the world around you. The stars above, the sound of the ocean, the rustle of leaves in the wind, or the feeling of the earth beneath your feet. These weren't just parts of the environment to you. They were familiar, comforting, and even mysterious. There was an unexplainable connection that drew you in, as if the natural world was speaking to you in a way that others couldn't hear. This deep connection to nature or the universe was never a random feeling. It wasn't something strange or unusual. It was a clue to your spiritual depth. From a young age, you were in tune with something bigger than yourself. While others might have been focused on the material world or everyday tasks, you felt an inner peace when surrounded by nature. Perhaps you spent hours watching the stars, marveling at their beauty, or stood by the ocean feeling a sense of awe and connection to something vast and ancient. Or maybe you felt a strong bond with animals, sensing that they communicated with you in ways beyond words. For many people, nature is simply a place to visit or something to enjoy occasionally. But for you, it was a source of wisdom, peace, and understanding. The way the sun rises and sets, how the seasons change, or how everything in nature is interconnected, it all seemed to make sense to you in a way that felt deeply spiritual. Your connection to nature wasn't just a pastime, it was a part of who you were. This bond hinted at something powerful within you, your spiritual depth. It's often said that the universe communicates with those who are in tune with it, and you've always had an unspoken understanding of that connection. You may have felt the presence of something bigger when you were alone in nature, something that guided you, comforted you, and helped you see the world in a different light. In many ways, your deep connection to nature was preparing you for a greater understanding of life and the universe. It was shaping your spiritual journey, helping you listen to the quiet whispers of the world around you. Your heart was open to the mysteries of the universe, and that openness was guiding you to a path of spiritual growth and purpose. So, if you've ever felt that deep, unexplainable bond with nature, trust it. It's not just a coincidence, it's a sign of the spiritual depth you carry within, a connection to something far beyond the physical world. Nature has always been your guide, showing you the way to something greater than you ever imagined. As a child, you might have felt a special bond with nature that others didn't quite understand. While your friends were content with playing games or staying indoors, you found solace and peace in the world around you. The stars above, the sound of the ocean, the rustle of leaves in the wind, or the feeling of the earth beneath your feet. These weren't just parts of the environment to you, they were familiar, comforting, and even mysterious. There was an unexplainable connection that drew you in, as if the natural world was speaking to you in a way that others couldn't hear. This deep connection to nature or the universe was never a random feeling. It wasn't something strange or unusual. It was a clue to your spiritual depth. From a young age, you were in tune with something bigger than yourself. While others might have been focused on the material world or everyday tasks, you felt an inner peace when surrounded by nature. Perhaps you spent hours watching the stars, marveling at their beauty, or stood by the ocean feeling a sense of awe and connection to something vast and ancient. Or maybe you felt a strong bond with animals, sensing that they communicated with you in ways beyond words. For many people, nature is simply a place to visit or something to enjoy occasionally. But for you, it was a source of wisdom, peace, and understanding. The way the sun rises and sets, how the seasons change, or how everything in nature is interconnected, it all seemed to make sense to you in a way that felt deeply spiritual. Your connection to nature wasn't just a pastime, it was a part of who you were. This bond hinted at something powerful within you, your spiritual depth. It's often said that the universe communicates with those who are in tune with it, and you've always had an unspoken understanding of that connection. You may have felt the presence of something bigger when you were alone in nature, something that guided you, comforted you, and helped you see the world in a different light. In many ways, your deep connection to nature was preparing you for a greater understanding of life and the universe. It was shaping your spiritual journey, helping you listen to the quiet whispers of the world around you. Your heart was open to the mysteries of the universe, and that openness was guiding you to a path of spiritual growth and purpose. So if you've ever felt that deep, unexplainable bond with nature, trust it. It's not just a coincidence. It's a sign of the spiritual depth you carry within, a connection to something far beyond the physical world. Nature has always been your guide, showing you the way to something greater than you ever imagined. As a child, you might have found yourself questioning the rules and expectations set by the adults around you. It wasn't that you wanted to break the rules for the sake of rebellion, but deep down you felt that some things just didn't sit right, whether it was the way people were treated, the fairness of certain rules, or societal expectations that didn't make sense. To you, something inside you pushed you to ask, why? You may have noticed things that others didn't, or felt intuitive sense when something was wrong or unjust. Maybe you challenged the way things were done at school, or questioned why certain traditions or beliefs were accepted without being questioned. You might have seen inequality, unfair treatment, or even the oppression of others, and it made you uncomfortable. While others went along with the flow, you had this deep inner voice telling you that something wasn't right. This tendency to question wasn't a sign of disobedience, but rather a reflection of your strong sense of justice and a deeper understanding of the world. You weren't just following the crowd, you were thinking critically and challenging the status quo. Even if people tried to silence you or dismiss your concerns, you kept asking because you knew that change often starts with someone questioning the way things have always been. This trait is often found in those who are meant to lead or inspire change. From a young age, you were not content with simply accepting things as they were. You were aware of the world's imperfections and you had the courage to challenge them. This wasn't just about going against the grain, it was about striving for fairness, truth, and a better way of doing things. Your questioning spirit was a sign that you were meant to make an impact. Leaders and change makers throughout history often started as children who questioned authority, and it was this very questioning that pushed them toward their greater purpose. You were tapping into that same energy, sensing that the world was full of possibilities for improvement and that you could be the one to help bring about that change. So if you ever found yourself challenging the rules, not out of anger or rebellion, but out of a deep sense of justice, recognize that it was part of your calling. That inner drive to question and seek truth was a sign that you were destined to stand up for what's right, to challenge the injustices of the world, and to inspire others to do the same. Your questioning nature is not a flaw, it's a strength that will guide you as you fulfill your unique purpose. As a child, you might have noticed that you often found yourself at the center of attention, whether you wanted it or not. It wasn't something you actively sought, yet people seemed drawn to you, some with admiration and others with jealousy. It could have been your energy, your unique qualities, or the way you carried yourself that made others take notice. Whether it was your presence in the room, your ideas, or the way you interacted with others, you had this magnetic quality that made people pay attention, for better or worse. Being the center of attention, however, often came with its own challenges. While some admired your confidence, talents, or the way you expressed yourself, others might have felt threatened or envious. You might have faced criticism or harsh judgment simply because people couldn't understand why they were drawn to you. It wasn't about your actions, it was about the energy you naturally radiated. You had a presence that made others take notice, and this was a sign that you had influence, even at a young age. This magnetic quality isn't random, it's a clue to your potential and purpose. People who are destined to lead or make an impact often attract attention without trying. It's not about seeking the spotlight, but about your energy and influence naturally standing out. You might have felt uncomfortable with this attention, especially if it was mixed with jealousy or criticism, but it was a sign that you were different and special. You were meant to influence others, whether by inspiring them, challenging their beliefs, or showing them a different perspective. Your ability to attract attention, both positive and negative, indicates that you were meant for something greater. Those who are meant to make an impact often have to learn how to navigate this kind of attention. It's not always easy, and it often comes with misunderstandings or even resentment from others. But over time, you'll learn how to embrace this power and use it to your advantage. So if you've ever felt like you were the center of attention, even without trying, know that it's not a coincidence. This magnetic quality was always a part of you, pointing toward the influence you're destined to have in the world. It's a sign of your unique purpose and the impact you're meant to make on others. You may not have chosen to stand out, but your presence was always meant to be felt. As a child, you might have often felt a weight on your shoulders, an inexplicable sense of responsibility that seemed much too big for your age. While other kids were focused on their own worlds, playing, having fun, or enjoying carefree moments, you found yourself thinking about the well-being of others. Whether it was looking out for your younger siblings, trying to comfort a friend who was upset, or even worrying about things that felt far beyond your control, you carried this deep sense of responsibility that others might not have understood. You may have taken on the role of protector, even if no one asked you to. If your sibling was in trouble or your friend was sad, you instinctively felt the need to step in, to help, to make things better. Sometimes you might have even felt the weight of the world's problems on your heart. While others may have ignored the struggles of people around them, you were the one who noticed and cared, feeling that something needed to be done to make things right. This sense of responsibility wasn't something you chose, it was something that was always within you. It wasn't just about helping those close to you, but about feeling an emotional connection to the world and a desire to make a positive difference. You might have wondered why you felt so deeply about things that others didn't seem to notice. Maybe you even felt like you were meant to do more, to help in ways that others couldn't see. This unusual responsibility is often a sign of a deeper calling. People who feel this way as children are often destined for great things. They have a natural inclination to care for others and a strong desire to help solve problems, whether it's protecting loved ones, supporting friends through hard times, or feeling compelled to improve the world. This deep sense of responsibility is a key part of your unique purpose. Over time, you may have come to realize that this responsibility isn't a burden, it's a strength. It's what will drive you to make a difference in the lives of others. It's what will push you to take action, to stand up for what's right, and to contribute to something bigger than yourself. The weight you felt as a child is a reflection of your inner strength and the role you were always meant to play. So if you've ever felt this inexplicable sense of responsibility, know that it's a sign of your potential. You are someone who is meant to care for others, lead with compassion, and make a lasting impact. It's not just a feeling, it's a calling that will guide you to fulfill your purpose. As a child, you may have experienced moments that felt beyond the ordinary, moments when you seemed to understand things that others didn't, or when you felt deeply connected to something greater than yourself. Whether it was vivid dreams, a deep sense of knowing, or an intuitive feeling that guided you, there was a part of you that was aware of the unseen, even if you couldn't explain it at the time. These moments weren't just coincidences, they were glimpses of a deeper spiritual awareness that was already within you. Perhaps you had dreams that felt incredibly real, dreams that offered insight or answers to questions you hadn't asked. Or maybe you would get feelings or impressions about people, places, or situations that turned out to be true. These intuitive experiences often left you questioning the world around you, as they seemed to tap into something beyond the physical realm. You might not have understood these experiences back then, but deep down, you knew there was more to life than what met the eye. At times, you may have found yourself feeling a sense of wonder or curiosity about spirituality, something that others around you didn't seem to share. Whether it was an interest in the mysteries of the universe, a fascination with the unknown, or a desire to explore deeper meanings, you felt an inner pull towards something bigger than yourself. You might have been drawn to stories of ancient wisdom, spiritual practices, or ideas that made others uncomfortable or confused, but for you they felt familiar, like pieces of a puzzle you were meant to solve. These experiences were not random, they were signs of your spiritual depth and awareness. Many people who are destined for greater purposes begin their journey with moments of spiritual insight or intuition. These experiences often serve as a guide, helping to shape your understanding of the world and your place in it. They might have made you feel different from others, or like you didn't quite belong, but they were clues pointing to your unique calling. Even if you didn't fully understand the spiritual experiences you had as a child, they were laying the foundation for your future journey. They were opening doors to a deeper understanding of yourself and the universe, preparing you for the purpose you are meant to fulfill. Your intuition, your connection to the spiritual realm, and your curiosity about life's mysteries were all signs that you were chosen for something greater. So if you've ever had moments of profound insight, vivid dreams, or a deep curiosity about spirituality, know that these were not just passing experiences, they were glimpses of the spiritual path that awaits you, guiding you toward your true purpose. As a child, you may have found yourself deeply troubled by unfairness, whether it was something that happened to you or something you saw happening to others. While most children were concerned with simple things like toys or schoolwork, you were the one who couldn't ignore the injustice that seemed to be everywhere. Whether it was a classmate being treated badly, someone in your family facing unfair treatment, or even larger societal issues, you felt a strong emotional reaction that stayed with you. It wasn't just about feeling upset, it was a sense that things were wrong and you couldn't stand it. Perhaps you spoke up when you saw something unfair happening, or maybe you even took actions to try and fix what was wrong, even if it was just in small ways. As a child, you might have felt helpless at times, not knowing how to change the bigger injustices in the world, but the feeling that you had to do something was always there, tugging at your heart. You didn't just want things to be better for yourself. You wanted fairness for everyone, and that deep sense of justice was a big part of who you were. This early awareness of injustice was no accident. It was a clue to your future role as a beacon of change. Many people who are destined to make a difference in the world have an intense reaction to unfairness from an early age. This sense of justice isn't just a feeling, it's a calling. It's a sign that you were meant to challenge the status quo, speak up for those who can't speak for themselves, and fight for a more just and equal world. Whether you became the person who stood up for the underdog, fought for what was right, or simply never could accept things that were unjust, this sense of fairness is a core part of your purpose. As you grow older, you'll begin to see how that child's sense of right and wrong will help guide you toward a bigger role, one where you can make an actual impact on the world, no matter how small or large. In a world that often seems filled with injustice, those who feel deeply troubled by unfairness are often the ones who are meant to change things. Your sensitivity to injustice was never a weakness. It was a sign of strength and a clue to your purpose. You are meant to be a voice for those who are unheard, to stand up for what's right, and to bring light into dark places. That sense of justice you felt as a child? It's the spark that will guide you toward becoming the change maker you were always meant to be. As a child, you may have found yourself often lost in deep thought, asking questions that others seemed to brush aside. While your friends were preoccupied with what game to play or what TV show to watch, you were busy pondering the bigger questions of life, why we're here, what the purpose of existence is, and what forces beyond what we see are guiding our lives. These weren't just passing thoughts, they were questions that seemed to flow naturally from you, as if you were searching for answers to mysteries that others weren't even thinking about. This deep curiosity wasn't something you chose, it was part of who you were. While others around you might have been content with simple answers or focused on the day-to-day, you were seeking meaning beyond the surface. You might have found yourself staring at the stars, wondering about the universe, or getting lost in the complexity of life and the deeper truths that seemed hidden. Maybe you asked adults about their views on life's meaning, or perhaps you kept your thoughts to yourself, feeling that others wouldn't understand. Either way, there was something inside of you that yearned to know more. This curiosity wasn't a random phase, it was a clue to something much deeper. People who are destined for greater things often have an intense, natural curiosity about life's meaning. It's as if their souls are seeking answers to the questions that guide them toward their true purpose. You didn't just want to know the facts. You wanted to understand the why and the how of everything. This quest for understanding set you apart from others, making you different, even though you might have felt out of place at times. Your curiosity wasn't just intellectual, it was spiritual, emotional, and deep. It guided you toward a greater connection with yourself and the world around you. You weren't content with living life on the surface, you wanted to understand its essence. This thirst for knowledge about existence and purpose is what shapes the path of many people who are meant to inspire, lead, or make a difference in the world. It's this sense of wonder and exploration that will one day help you find the answers that lead you toward fulfilling your unique role in the world. So, if you've always found yourself asking big questions, know that this is not just a phase or something to be brushed off. It is a sign of your deeper calling. The questions you ponder today will shape your path tomorrow, helping you discover your purpose and the role you are meant to play in the grand story of life. Periods of isolation can feel overwhelming, especially as a child. You might have wondered why you often felt alone, left out, or different from others. While your friends enjoyed close-knit circles or shared common interests, you may have found yourself standing on the outside, yearning for a connection that never seemed to come easily. These moments of loneliness were not random or a punishment. They had a deeper purpose in shaping who you are. As a chosen one, isolation is often part of your journey. These moments of solitude allowed you to turn inward, to reflect, and to start understanding yourself on a deeper level. Without the distractions of constant company or the noise of the world around you, you had the space to listen to your inner voice. It's during these quiet times that your true self began to emerge. You might have discovered unique talents, found comfort in your imagination, or started asking the bigger questions about life and your purpose in it. This loneliness wasn't always easy to endure. There were likely times when it hurt, when you felt unseen, misunderstood, or even rejected. But this experience was also preparing you. Leaders, visionaries, and those destined for unique paths often walk alone for parts of their journey. It's in these moments of solitude that clarity is born. You were unknowingly building resilience, learning to rely on yourself, and becoming familiar with the strength that comes from within. Think about it. Without those moments of quiet, would you have been able to develop the deep sense of self-awareness that sets you apart today? The silence that may have once felt empty was actually filled with potential. It was in these times that you started connecting with your true purpose, even if you didn't realize it then. These periods of isolation also helped you prepare for the role you are meant to play. Whether you are meant to inspire others, guide them, or change the world in your own unique way, those moments of solitude gave you the tools to understand your path. You learned to see beyond the surface, to empathize with others, and to draw strength from within. So, while loneliness might have felt like a burden at the time, it was actually a gift. It was a time for growth, for preparation, and for self-discovery. Every chosen one has these moments, and they are essential steps on the path to fulfilling your destiny. What you learned in those times of isolation is something that will guide you as you move forward, stronger and more connected to your purpose. As a child, you might have felt like you experienced emotions more intensely than others. Joy, sadness, fear, or excitement. These feelings weren't just fleeting moments for you, they were profound experiences that seemed to resonate through every part of your being. But it wasn't just your own emotions, you could also sense the feelings of others around you. Whether it was a sibling's sadness, a teacher's frustration, or a friend's excitement, their emotions seemed to flow through you as if they were your own. This heightened sensitivity was often overwhelming. You might have wondered why you felt drained after being around certain people or situations, or why the sadness of a friend lingered with you long after you had left their side. Others might not have understood this about you, possibly labeling you as too emotional or telling you to toughen up. But what they didn't realize is that this sensitivity was not a weakness. It was, and is, a profound gift. Your deep emotional awareness allowed you to connect with people in a way that few others could. When someone was hurting, you could feel it without them saying a word. When someone was joyful, you shared their happiness as though it were your own. This ability to tap into the emotions of others prepared you for your journey as a chosen one. It taught you the power of empathy, an essential trait for understanding and helping others. This gift of heightened sensitivity also connected you to the world on a deeper level. You may have been moved by the beauty of a sunset, the sadness of a stray animal, or the unspoken struggles of a stranger. These feelings weren't random, they were signs of your ability to perceive life with an intensity that most people overlook. They were clues pointing toward your unique purpose. However, this sensitivity required you to develop balance. It's easy to get lost in the emotions of others or to carry burdens that aren't yours to bear. But through these challenges, you learned resilience and boundaries, skills that allowed you to use your gift without being overwhelmed by it. Looking back, it's clear that your heightened sensitivity was preparing you for the path ahead.